Hello, everyone. Before we get started, this comment right here, I don't know actually if that would be possible. I mean, I read fast, but I don't think I could read 5 chapters in a minute. But, yeah. Anyways, I hope everyone is doing well and they're ready to discuss this book. In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. Before we begin, I do have some quick housekeeping things to take care of. I wanted to make everyone aware that we are also working with the publisher this month, and through that we'll be hosting a very special pre-recorded Q&A with the author, Ashley Winstead. So if you wanted to have any questions answered whatsoever, then we have a post on our Instagram page that you can go to ask some questions. And also after the live show, I'll pop a story with a question sticker, so then you can ask some ones on there as well. And yeah, that's basically all the housekeeping for the beginning portion. For now, though, I really want to hear Noelle and Ellias reintroduce yourselves, give your thoughts, your ratings, initial reactions, and I want to see everyone in the comment section give their star ratings and just general vibes that they got from this book.
Well, hi everyone, I'm Noelle. I am in the second cube of this live show today, and we're going to be talking about In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. My rating for this book, first of all, let me say, loved the dark academia. I loved the descriptions of the school. I thought it was really fun. I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. I thought that the dark academia was great. I thought that I love a mystery and a thriller has an ensemble cast with a bunch of, suspects trying to figure out who it could be, what the motives are, all of those kinds of things. What's everyone's alibis? I thought that was super fun. I also loved how unlikable our main character is, and that you're not really ashamed to not like her, right? Because I often feel like with main characters, when they start doing things you don't like, you're like, wait a second, you're my main character, you're supposed to be my hero, I'm supposed to be rooting for you. And I think in this book, it's really obvious that you're really not supposed to root for her in a lot of ways. The only issue that I had was that I figured it out really fast. I know I figured out who had done the thing. It was just a matter of how'd they get there, but there was a lot of clues along the way, and so I always keep that in consideration when I'm rating a mystery or a thriller, because ultimately, when you start going through this big, large cast of characters, I could kind of be like, well, I know you didn't do it, so let's just get to the next person, because I know who it is. So, yeah, that's my rating.
Awesome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ellias in the third cube over here. Surprisingly for me, this was way better than If We Were Villains and The Secret History. I'm giving this a 4.5. I enjoyed immensely the characterization of the characters. I felt like there was so much more substance, and just their relationships with each other was just so much more enticing than the other two books that I read. I felt like if I were to group this in school courses in terms of actually going to a school like that, I feel like The Secret History would be philosophical, and If We Were Villains would be theological, and then this one would be straight up English literature. I don't know. I feel like it was just way more accessible and easier to just fly through and understand versus the other two dark academic books that we read for the book club. And I fucking loved the main character. She was. I have never read such big main character energy in my entire life. She would literally stare at something and she was like, I'm pretty and gorgeous and smart and
you're beautiful, Jessica.
And I'm like, wow, that's something I do. No, I'm just kidding. I just wow.
Everyone.
I need some of this confidence in my life. The way she would just go into a room and be like, I'm the best one here. I'm like, this is some Aquarius energy that I'm reading here. I don't know, if we're compatible, but I fucking loved it. I just loved how, I just loved everything about her. You said earlier, we're not supposed to be rooting for her, and I was like, well, I kind of was rooting for her. For the entire
We're all
time.
rooting for you.
Oh my god.
Ellias, straight up. came into this live and was like, yes, I am the best one here. You two can leave.
Yes. Ellias was like, I am the main character. So
I am the main
never.
oh my god. I loved
In his
that
mind, he's
rating.
like,
That was
yes.
so good.
He was like, I don't want to be pretentious, but
I mean, minus the terrible things that she did, I mean, I can sort of understand, right? To a degree.
Mhm.
But I know, I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I did, however, with the twist, I did predict it. Like, it was very easy, I
Same.
think, to see who was, like, the culprit. It was a matter of, like, was it process of elimination for me? However, it wasn't so much that I didn't enjoy the twist. It was more like, oh, how we got there. Because this book was so, like, so juicy. There was so much tea in this book with all the characters. And I feel like that's what the other two books missed in terms of... Yeah, and you know what? Let's move along, man. I'm just keep going into it.
Yeah, not that.
Not
like,
me
myself.
talking about her. They're trying to like. Okay, let's move along.
Okay, so we have the Jessica fan
part
club
five.
being started.
Yes.
Ellias starting the Jessica fan club. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Joel, if you didn't already know. I'm in the first cube of this thing. This book, wow. I rated it 4, so I'm bang back in the middle. I really liked the kind of way that Winstead crafted this story and gave us like the juicy details of like this salacious dynamic between everyone, and the way that kind of there's no one's truly a good person in a way. Very typical of Dark Academia and the way that it works. I loved Jessica as a main character. She gave that main character energy. And I just loved our introduction to her, the way that she's kind of like, I need to prove myself that I'm better than everyone else in this room. Otherwise, I have failed. I have failed as a person. And I'm like, wow, if that is not me at my high school reunion, whenever that happens, you know? And I just loved it. I agree with you both as well that the twist of the murderer was predictable, but also the twist on the twist at the very end, I also predicted, because I was like, there is no way that our girl is getting off scot-free. Like,
Our girl?
Noelle is like, what's happening?
Our girl.
Our girl is getting off
Flabbergasted.
scot-free. And she was definitely an interesting protagonist, to say the least. But like this comment said, at points she was just way too relatable. Like there were just points where I was like, yes, I know exactly why you feel that way. But I think that's a really cool thing of like Dark Academia, because you relate to these characters because they kind of uncover those like darker desires that we think about but don't actually do. And then they actually do them in this book. And it's like, okay,
It's just like,
yikes.
oh, so that's what would happen. Okay, good to know.
Oh, I get arrested? Oh, maybe I don't do
What?
that.
Wait, maybe I can get away with it. Morally ambiguous, we love to see it.
I can be gray?
I can be unlikable and insufferable. Oh, God.
Oh my gosh.
And win in the end, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Cheers to that.
You know, just kind of conveniently placed
Main
window.
character thinking here. All the energy, good vibes only.
It's like, what if I just... Oh, literally this. What if I just... Oh no. Then no.
Well...
Actually...
I guess everyone can tell I'm the villain in this.
If we were villains, Ellias would be it.
Truly.
I would... Oh, if I could be a Dark Academia book, which one would I be? Out of all the 3 we've read so far, would I be The Secret History, In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, or If We Were Villains?
Ooh.
Oh, I feel like I'd be The Secret History. Noelle would be If We Were Villains, and then Ellias would be In My Dreams.
Wow, I love that. I was hoping for If We Were Villains, so I'm really happy.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Right. So questions. We're about to go into probably spoilers since we're nearing like 10 minutes into this live now. So if you haven't read the book or haven't finished the last 5 chapters of this book, I look at you, person in the beginning. Maybe come back once you finish those 5 chapters, probably in like, I don't know how long it takes people to read 5 chapters. But at the back of the book, there is a reading group guide that I presume some of you might have seen at the very back. So I thought it'd be cool if we went through some of the questions that I asked about there, whilst interweaving some larger discussions of our own. So the very first question I want to ask, and we've already touched on this a little, is Jessica is very determined to prove herself the most successful member of the class during homecoming. Why does she need to prove herself? How do you navigate the dangers of comparing yourself to others, especially in your graduating class or distant social media friends? And I thought it'd be interesting because obviously we're all social media friends. And so
Not just saying we could be like Jessica.
We could just be the Jessica in your life. But I think it's an interesting examination into why do people feel the need to feel like feel like we need to be better than other people, but also too, especially with social media, like this kind of performance as like, oh, my life is perfect, but really it's not.
Like, main character complex.
Ellias, you can go first then.
Yes, Ellias. You were giving me professor energy right there, Joel. Slam the book shut.
Like, you go first. Thank you for answering. Please.
I think a lot of it stems from sort of like, I guess, sort of individuality, but also like for our characters, childhood trauma, especially. I think someone said it over here too, daddy issues as well. I think it's sort of like parental, I guess, sort of it came from like a parental figure, the problem of self. And I think also we kind of want to present ourselves sort of like, oh, like on social media for everyone to see. It sort of gives us that superiority, that boost, I guess. You know, that, oh, we are able to do it, we can do it, and we look good while we're doing it. So that is just a little tidbit on there. But someone else can turn it into a more intellectual discussion.
Well, I think what you were saying about her dad was 100%. And I really liked that actually, because at the beginning when she's just unlikable, I was like, well, there has to be a reason for this. Like, we have to know why she has such a strong main character energy. And those chapters where her dad's getting discussed were really powerful and understanding like why she is the way that she is, especially that chapter of like when she goes in with the drawings and she tries to connect with him and he's just like, you're the reason why my life is the way that it is. So like totally she wants to like she wants to, you know, make a name for herself and make herself someone that her dad could have been proud of. I think with social media as a whole, there's like this, I think of it as like the 2 C's of like curating a perfect life, but then comparing your non-perfect life to everyone else's curated life, right? And so like that's one of those dangers of like, I want everyone to think I'm doing fine, but I'm really not doing fine. So now I'm looking at everyone else who's telling me they're doing fine, and I think they're actually fine, but I'm not fine now, you know? So I think that it was really interesting seeing, because I totally agree with both of you, like those ideas of like, what if I really did go to a reunion? Like, how would that go over? Would I be able to be proud of who I am, like when I'm standing up there or when I'm running into these people? And I think that hearing her conversation around or her experiences with her dad made her I was able to empathize with her a lot more.
Yeah,
and so she became
a sympathetic person.
Yeah, she just became a way more dynamic main character to me too. Like, because like, yeah, she was really fun to listen to, like really fun to read. But then when we got those chapters, I was like, oh, there's reasons, you know? And so, yes, I know. So,
yeah, it's also just to like touch back on that, like going back on what you said, it's just like people presenting themselves, you know, as a certain way on social media and also looking at that, like at our own perspective, it's like, wait, you can do it? Like, is it attainable? You know, like if they can do it, maybe I can do it too. But all like pros and cons and aspects, you know, social media is such a big aspect to talk about. It's a big can of worms, you know. There are some good things and bad things, but adhering strictly to the question.
Yeah, I totally agree with you both. Like, I think because of the experiences that she's had with her dad, she feels the need that she needs to like prove herself, not only to her dad, but to everyone else as well, that she is this high achiever. She's able to do what she wants and that she is like utterly like the best and just iconic. But relating that to social media, I think it's kind of that pressure to always show the positives and to show like the kind of good things about your life when actually not everything is as they seem, as we see with Jessica throughout this book. Like she goes through a lot. And I think the way that she kind of uses the reunion to kind of be like, I've had all of this happen to me and now look at me rise above it. It's kind of like, I admired her in a way because of that, but also it was one of those things of like, you really need to like just take a step back and like realize why you're doing this, but also like just I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, I just think overall she was just very interesting in the way that she wanted to be better than everyone else. And I think the reasons, as we explored it, just really humanized her as a character and didn't make her just seem like an utter like bitch all the time.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I kind of relate to you because of that pressure. And speaking of pressure, it relates to actually one of the questions in the reading guide that I wanted to touch on, but we can segue to that now, actually, as I get the page open. But this comment actually, it was honestly really refreshing to see a character like Jessica, because I feel like we all feel the pressure from time to time, and it was reassuring to see it in a book.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of pressure, what do you think are the kinds of consequences, like from Jessica's father placing a ton of pressure on her, but also kind of wider in institutions in general, like we see through gifted and talented programs, and like all of these like smart children being pressured into achieving high as someone who was in like a gifted and talented program and suffered through gifted child burnout? What do you think are like some of the after effects of those, the pressure of being pressured to succeed, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
I think it also not just affects yourselves, but like other people, and seeing, competition, especially like how you realize that you're always pushing yourself to be so successful, to be number one, to be the best. And then when you get to, these institutions, or you meet these other people, you find out that, oh, like you're not, maybe you are like only mediocre and at best. And it sort of like pushes you to be better, but not in a good and healthy way. I think it could be emotionally exhausting and damaging psychologically as well. Like, later on in the mindset of life, I feel like pushing that like on somebody, it was just, I think it's just, just mentally exhausting and just taxing psychologically.
I think too,
So,
like the thing with Jess was that she accomplished a lot. Like she got into Duquette, which was like her second school that she wanted to get into, and she got into the econ program. Econ program.
yeah.
And she was getting straight A's in that program, and so she was successful, just not as successful as she wanted to be. Like she goes to the reunion as like the youngest partner at Coldwell or whatever it was, and she still, like, it still isn't enough. She arrives at the reunion and she's still missing something. Like she's not having that full moment. And also, like, what is that? Like the last 10 years of her life has all been building up to this one weekend. That's why she was striving to like be the best. And I think that it was really sad seeing like, if anyone was like, for us, the readers, we could step back and be like, Jess, like you got into this amazing program. You got into the second best sorority, which, I mean, it's not the number one you wanted, but you still got into the sorority of any, you got second place. You had this group of friends. You had this really, I mean, the float moment was just really funny. And so like you had this group of 7 friends that made you really popular in a way that you weren't popular before. And yet it still wasn't enough. And she was like constantly chasing the next best thing, which is something that makes me wonder what would happen to her life like 5 years after this book is done, because I don't think she'll be satisfied. So
Yeah.
anyway.
That's actually quite interesting, and we will touch upon that at the end, actually. I think for me personally, it was kind of like relating to that kind of gifted kid syndrome, because you get like a really good mark in something, but Jessica always like kind of found the negatives in it. Like she got into Duquette, but she didn't get a scholarship. And so she's like, oh, if I worked harder, I could have got that scholarship. My father's not going to be proud of me, blah, blah, blah. It was very much like she's always putting this pressure on herself to succeed. And then she's comparing herself constantly to other people's achievements and what other people have done. And it's kind of like that imposter syndrome that a lot of people can feel through like academia. Like, I think, Noelle, you and I have talked about this a lot, about like literature and stuff and like not feeling good enough. But it's kind of like always trying to remind yourself of like what you've accomplished and what you've done. And I think like Jessica just really needed to like sit down and be like, hey, I've actually achieved this, 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 and this, and this.
Yeah.
If my father like really recognized that and like was actually like good to me, he would be proud of me no matter what I have achieved. And so I think it's kind of that unhealthy relationship dynamic that set these unrealistic expectations for herself that kind of then just permeates throughout the novel. But this comment was also really interesting. Seeing everyone / life as competition also prevents you from forming meaningful connections and enjoy the experience.
Mhm.
And I agree with this wholeheartedly. It's kind of like if you always see someone as competition, it's never going to be a fun time. You're always just going to feel like someone's watching you or creeping on your back. But now that we've kind of discussed this, actually this comment as well, jealousy between the girls was really hard to read sometimes because it was so painful how they pretended to like each other, even though they wanted to scratch each other's eyes out. And we see this kind of dynamic a lot in, I guess, popular culture as a whole, with like a group of girls like in a friendship group, not really liking each other, but then also sticking together kind of just out of necessity and social survival. It's an interesting dynamic and definitely one that we could explore further, potentially in our Q&A with Ashley Winstead, seeing her thoughts about it and why she kind of created this kind of friendship dynamic. But anyway, let's get on to the juicy bit. Let's discuss the murder. Let's discuss our murderer. Let's discuss our ice cream flavor.
I'm dead.
I was like, it took me a second. That is so funny. Ice cream flavor.
Our ice cream flavor. What did we think about how it all unfolded and the way it came out, and actually the plan?
I I thought it was like the way it was structured in the book. I guess like technical wise, I thought it was like brilliant. Like I loved these different paths that we took with all these people trying to figure out what happened during that one night. And I felt like this could be such a great source material for like a show on HBO or something. Like, you know how like Big Little Lies went through?
Yeah.
Like, you know, all leading up to that one night. And I thought this would be like a great miniseries just to like explore all these different POVs from these different characters as to who really killed Heather and the reasoning behind it. But when we find out about it in here, I mean, deduction wise, it was quite easily to predict that Mint was the killer. And there were like so many clues, I think, that honed in on like how he truly felt, especially towards women and his like misogynistic views and just like, I guess, like toxic masculinity in general, which really like stemmed from like his childhood as well. And I think overall, like I thought, I like for 1 second though, I did think that Jessica might have done something. Well, you know, she kind of did, but like I thought she really did like the heavy brunt of the work, and I thought that maybe 2 or 3 people were also in on it, but it just turned out it was just all Mint. Yeah, honestly, okay, I gotta say like the male characters in this book were secondary to the female characters. I feel like Coop's only personality trait was just Jessica. Like literally empty head, no thoughts. Everything was just about Jessica. But it was okay. One scene in the book like stapled her as my favorite character for me is when the murderer was when Mint like confessed like, oh, I'm the murderer. And she's like, oh my God, my first thought is, she's like, I'm going to go to hell because my first thought is I won. And I was like, oh my God. It reminds me of like, you know, those like TikToks. And then you're scrolling through like the comments. And then people are like, oh my God, we're going straight to hell for laughing, you know, for like, it's like showing a TikTok of something like super like insensitive. And you're like watching it and you're like, oh my God, but you're not supposed to laugh, right? But you kind of do. So like her first thought was like, fuck, I won. but whatever. I'm going straight to whatever. I still won. But yeah, it's just like I think Mint, like his whole like I guess character arc and how his like viewpoints and how he viewed specific people in his life is just very like reminiscent and mirroring of like certain relationships. Because when he was like gaslighting like his like Jessica and like all these like different characters, I was like, oh, man, of course.
Oh gosh.
And then like Jack was in there, but like barely
Mm-hmm.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay, I did like Frankie. Okay, I did like Frankie.
Eric was just kind of creepy to me. He was
Yeah.
just like hovering and like they described him as being like hungry, like when he was looking at them, and I was like, okay, I want
the
you
whole
to leave.
time.
You're
I was
scaring me.
Like imagining like a younger Johnny Depp playing this character, like Edward Scissorhands, right? Or like a Timothée Chalamet type of character, and I was just like, cannot, like literally how unrealistic, but like also like this book, it was just a fun read. So
for me, I kind of accidentally meshed like Gossip Girl with this book, and so I was thinking like of Serena's younger brother as Eric in this book because they're both called Eric, and I was like, oh, this is a bit weird for me. But yeah, I definitely think like the way the murder was something. It was brutal, and he just kind of realized, and he was like, oh, what have I done? And he's like, yes. I've done this, and then he's like, oh no, I'm gonna go to prison, and then he's like, wait, no, I'm not going to prison. I'm gonna I'm gonna just mess my whole friends' lives up. Like, yeah, he's like, and you really get to see his selfishness come out in this, but also like Ellias said, like the peak of like a man just like at his pinpoint of anger and the toxic masculinity. He does. Yeah. I mean, he's dead now. Therapy's too late.
That's true. Oh my god, I actually wrote that in my notes. I was like, this needed therapy, and I was like, ... wait, he's actually dead.
Something that I liked was in the If We Were Villains, the reason for what's the burly dude's name?
Richard.
He doesn't like, he just kind of randomly becomes really aggressive, and we talked about it on the live where we were like, where's this coming from? We were like, why are you suddenly like this? But I liked with Mint that there was something that tied back to shame and embarrassment and anger. Like, I liked that his reaction was tied to something that we had already kind of
felt to me like more realistic, and seeing in how like certain people like I actually know in real life are like not like murderers, but like yeah.
Yeah, what was that? When he started, he was like, I'm sorry, I'll da 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 da. I was like, what is going on?
I think at that moment he realized that it's all fucked up, like it's all gone, and that one split second where he's just like, I think at that moment like he just mentally collapsed. It was just like too much, But
I think it was also a moment where he was just like, there's no way I'm gonna get out of this, so I'm just gonna apologize and hopefully I'll get less of a punishment.
I'm sorry. I kind of wished Jessica pushed him out of the window instead of Eric.
Same.
Because
all together,
like, man, she got fucking stabbed, okay, in the side. Also, the way like she was like assaulted, but none of her friends acknowledged that. I was like,
yes.
I was like, hello? Did you not hear what happened? Like, literally, they were like, or at first, like, man, even though he was a murderer, he was like, you slept with the professor and blah, blah, blah. And, like, none of the other characters reacted.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I was like, y'all are terrible friends.
Yeah.
It was also the fact that his first, like, reaction was shame, but for himself. He felt ashamed to be with Jessica. He felt ashamed of Jessica.
Yes.
And ashamed to be with Jessica. And I was like,
and the fact that they were fucking together, like, literally after the murder for, like, a year.
Yes! I was like, wait, didn't you hate her enough? Where, like, what?
Oh, this is also true. When he called.
Yeah, there was a lot.
I was like, wow, okay. No. But yeah, I was just like, wow. There was no empathy. Empathy who?
Yeah.
Did not exist. But yeah, I think just I think it was a very interesting dynamic, but do you think yes or no, it would have been more interesting if it actually turned out Jessica was the killer?
For me, no, because I think it would have been like predictable in a sense where like, oh, like I think in the mind of the reader, you're always supposed to think that Jessica might have something to do with it, but then it would finally realize that, oh, she was the one. It would kind of been like, oh, well, I kind of called it, but like, there's no surprise there. But turning out that Mint did it, but she did still like have some, some cause in her friend's death, I think that played out way better than what I thought. So
I think for me personally, I think with this comment, if it wasn't made too obvious that Jessica wasn't the killer, and like there was a little bit of like a rewrite, then I think it would have been a lot more interesting, because it could have been like, oh, like we're not sure if she did it or not, or maybe like she had someone else that like helped her, like if Mint and Jessica worked together and then Jessica forgot and then Mint was like, okay, we're just gonna like pretend it's never happened. And then like years later, like it comes out Mint killed her, and then Mint's like, actually, I'm not the only one that's going down, you are too. And then she's like, oh no, and then it all comes to light and whatever. Could do that.
I think it would have been really interesting if there was like 3 or 4 people who was also involved in the death, like like in like an Agatha Christie sort of twist. Like they all had something to do with her death. I mean, they sort of did, but like actually like maybe
did
like,
something.
Yeah,
like kind of like secret history, or
kill,
but then
murder.
But it's kind of like we're only thinking it's only one person, but actually each of them had their own specific role to play in the murder. And I think it would have been also interesting if they all didn't know each other had the role to play. And so there's only one person that does the actual killing, but like let's say the murder weapon, the scissors, got like moved to the actual place because they were like, I'm gonna put it here so I can kill her later, but then someone actually kills her. And then so it would have been really interesting in that way. But yeah. But speaking of like the murder, obviously at the very end we uncover them taking turns. Yes. they're just like, oh hi, bye.
It's like, this is true friendship.
Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, someone said Kara had a Joe Goldberg vibes without killing people. I mean, I really felt for her. I really liked her, and I did empathize and understand why, like, she thought the way she did and did things the way she did. Like wanting to belong, especially in such like a deep-rooted sense of wanting to fit in. And I was like, oh, I feel you, girl, but no.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that.
She deserved way better. Like literally, like Jessica even acknowledged it. Like, oh, we became friends with her, but we actually, like broke her.
Yeah,
because she was like, oh, we told her to toughen up, and she did, and by that we broke her, and it was like, oh, okay, damn. But I love how in the end she's just like, none of you contact me again. Fuck all of you.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, you know what? She had the best. I think she had the best exit for everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, not all of them were like terrible people. Like Jack, I think he was like the least damaging, but he's also like the most average.
Because Jessica tries to say that like Jack's like, I think awfully good, I think, in the book. Let me double check. I think it's awfully good. Undeniably good. Do we think anyone can be good in this book, or can be seen as a good person, or is everyone just bad in their own way?
I could see that Jack was made bad because he was forced into a position that he shouldn't have been in, right? So like, I think that his intentions is to prove his innocence, even if that means, and I mean, it works, right? He finds out who really did it, and then his name is kind of cleared. So he doesn't tell Jessica what's going on, and in that there's like some dishonesty, but also she's not the one that's been shut out from society for the last 10 years. So like, I understand why he's like keeping it close to the chest. So I think, Jack did cheat on Heather. That's true.
Yeah.
I think I really liked how morally ambiguous some of the characters were. And I think the most like comedic one was fucking Courtney. Every time she would speak, I was like laughing. I was like, she's like probably like she had so many moments in the book where she would just speak, and you know, in a way, she thought of herself as the main character. You know, she's like, I'm the prettiest one. You know, I have like good hip volume and stuff, and like I have great hair, and all the boys want me and stuff. To the point where I was like, okay, this unrealistic. Nobody really. I'm pretty sure I've never met anyone like this. So. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say Courtney was literally a mean girl for Mean Girls. She's like, I can't see. She's like, I can't. I do not see. I do not see.
She's like, I want no involvement in the final act. Bye.
Like, every single time someone says something, she's like, "You did it. You're the murderer. No, you did it." And then the end, she just fucking passes out.
She was basically like the comic relief that we needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh god. Yeah, literally. But let us all talk about the fact that we're at the very end, before we got carried away with Courtney and other characters. At the very end, we find out that Jessica actually left Heather to die after Heather was like, help me, you know, like,
okay,
boo-hoo,
well,
die.
To my favorite character's defense, she was already dead.
Exactly. She did say by the time they would have got there, she would have been dead.
Died.
But
the
she
fact
did
that
make the
she,
choice.
yeah, the fact that she did that.
Do you feel like she was? Do you feel like she made the right choice for herself? Morally, no, but for but do you feel like it would?
I feel like if she had called the police, they wouldn't have been in the situation they would have been in now.
Mm-hmm.
I think she actually fucked herself over because she, like, I feel like they would have caught the culprit if she came and got the authorities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it would have been really interesting. Like, oh, not like her mentality of like, see something, do nothing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it could have ended in a better situation than the current situation that they were in. Like, even they would have found, I don't know, actually. I'm speaking out of my ass here. I don't know. No, it would have been better.
I just love this. She was going on the one option to win. So she just walks in and she's like, oop, I've won. Bye.
The fact that when Jessica woke up covered in blood and she's like, let me go downstairs to get help. I was like, y'all don't have a fucking phone? Like, why did you go all the way downstairs?
Yes!
Like, what?
So I was like, so in the end, you basically walked out of there. But I was like, but I don't know. I was like, you're covered in blood. Like, wouldn't your DNA be everywhere? Like, wouldn't there be cameras? I don't know. There was just too many logistics to me. Like, I was like, I just accepted for what it was. I was like, okay, so in the end, she just didn't help a dying person.
Yeah. Heather literally begged her, so I thought it would be pretty heartless of Jessica to just leave her. I think yes, but also I think this is this kind of thing where Jessica just wanted to be the best. And so she's like, if the competition...
I was like, okay, what? How are you going to top being stabbed 7 times? Like,
be stabbed 18 times. You know? And survive.
I mean, she did sort of cement her name at the end, where she's like, no, like, everything that she wanted at the end, where she was like, I'm a hero. I saved, myself, and I avenged my friend's killer.
I was so mad.
I was like, huh? And then
Noelle is here not having it. She's like,
the GoFundMe.
Yes!
The GoFund, they set the GoFundMe to bail her out of jail. Yeah. I'm like, what?
She didn't even push him, and she gets the glory. She gets the guy that she's fucked around with for 10 years, right? Like, she was such a bad person. I don't know how she got a happy ending, and it pisses me off. It's like, okay, fine, you're not a murderer, like, go, that's fine. But she's, like, famous now. She's like, oh my god, I'm walking out, and, like, the cameras are, like, there to, like, oh my god, I'm, like, the good girl. I'm like, what
she drives into the sunset.
Yes! With Coop. I'm like, how did you even get Coop? You showed up at the engagement party to fuck with his head, and then he moves on, and then you kiss him, and then you stop talking to him, and then you end up getting him. I'm like, God.
Indeed. I agree with you though. I think
You're
Coop
toxic.
was like, "You're toxic." I like that.
That was even that confession. I was like, you're listing all the things you hate about her, and you love it. And I'm like, what is going on right
I
now?
can't.
They're a match made
Oh, gosh.
in heaven.
Literally, I am doing fine. Thank you. Literally,
Yeah,
this
he
as well.
literally said, "You're narcissist. You're vain. You're
Yes.
selfish."
Still love you.
And I want you forever. And I was like,
Like,
okay,
still
well, Jess
hot,
is going
though.
to get bored of you in like 5 years. She's going to be like, okay, well, I'm not getting enough from you, so I'm going to move on. Yes, exactly. I'm like, also, even in the tent, right, like at the reunion, and she's sitting there and she's like kind of getting pulled by Mint, and then she sees Coop and she's like, which one do I want? I'm like, oh my God, you don't deserve Coop then if you still don't know what you want. You don't even know which route you want to take. You want attention from either one of them.
Call the divorce lawyers.
You know,
But literally, it's the fact he just like ditches Kara at the end. He's just like, yeah, bye.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like, I was a goner at freshman year. I'm like, oh my God, I get it. She wore a pleated skirt on day 1. Let's move on. I don't even understand. What?
I'm dying. I'm dying. I just don't think. I don't think it should have been like a romantic, happy ending, driving away into the sunset. Like, we can go wherever you want. Blah blah blah. Where do you think they're gonna end up?
you know what I thought at the very end? I was like, when they're on the road driving the motorcycle, I was like, oh shit, they're gonna get hit by a car.
I thought the same thing.
Oh,
I was like, they're going to die. What is going to happen right now?
I was like waiting.
Justice.
I was like, oh my God, are they gonna get hit by a car? You know, like all of a sudden, like they're gonna die, like she's gonna die or something.
Yes.
Oh, new ending. They get hit by a car, and then Jessica calls out for help, and the person, it's Caro, and then she's like, no, and walks away.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Or if just Coop died and she has to live her life. No, she still would have won. I would have been pissed, so.
Or she is the one that's dying, and Coop just walks away.
Oh my. Joel.
Coop's
Yes.
like, bye.
Oh my God.
He's like, this was the plan all along.
I
And
love that.
I kind of hate it. I don't know.
I feel,
No!
I kind of hate it. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like her dying at the end probably, I don't know, there would have been a sense of poetic justice in a way. But then again, Dark Academia doesn't necessarily end happily all the time. Get that life insurance.
I'm dead. Oh my God. Honestly, I really want the friendship back with Carol, even though Jessica was like real fucking shitty with that friendship. I really liked Carol, and I think she was probably like the best one in the group for me. I want them to get back together. I want them together.
She was the best one, and also the outlier of the group, like always on the outside. I feel like it just goes. I think it is also that sense of jealousy, kind of like we need to keep her on the outside because we know that she's kind of like potentially better than us.
Caroline and Jessica should have gotten together.
That would have been a very interesting dynamic.
Way better, in my opinion.
I loved her last line too.
Yeah.
When she's like, "You were the love of my life." I was like,
yeah.
"Oh."
I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, hello? Why didn't we explore this?
Literally.
I was like, literally, Coop's whole personality in the whole entire book was all about Jessica, even 10 years later after they graduated. And, you know, man, she was the main character in this book. She was the main character.
True. Although, again, she made the healthy choice to leave, to go away, to just abandon them. And she was like, I just want nothing to do with you. I hope she goes away, finds the person of her dreams, and has a healthy relationship. That's what she deserves.
Or she's going to find somebody else's stock and be like, I found you.
Stop. She changed her name. Her name is now Love.
Oh my God, I'm dead.
That's where she came from.
I saw a question earlier that said, did anyone actually like Heather? And so what do you guys think about her winning the scholarship? Because I thought it was not deserved.
I think there wasn't enough insight for me to make a full judgment on her character. I feel like when Jessica finds the paper, like that, oh, maybe she is lying about, that she did it on a whim, that maybe she, underneath it all, she does work hard, or like
Mhm.
actually does things to get things that she wants. Like, obviously she comes from privilege and wealth and money, right? But like also at the same time, maybe she is trying to make a name for herself. Like, that was never fully explored, but
Yeah.
I would have liked to see
Okay.
that, maybe if
Mhm.
like expanded more upon. But I don't know. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. I think she like really tried, actually. Instead of like saying like, oh, like telling people like, oh, this is all handed to me, like whatever at all
Mhm.
times. Maybe I think that she was a better person than most of them were. That's
Yeah.
what I like to think in the end. Give her
Just
more
from like
sympathy.
a statistical standpoint, though, I was like, she didn't even get an A in your classes. Jess has been in 4 of your classes and has nailed straight A's. She got a recommendation from the top professor who like went to Harvard. And she didn't even make the list. I think that was my problem, is I was like, how did this girl who, I mean, and I don't think she actually did it on a whim, right? I think she worked for it, but I was like, how did she not get straight A's in these classes? She's only taken 1 class with this professor. Just if you're looking at transcripts, I don't know how she got the scholarship over Jess,
Mhm.
or even that Jess wasn't even on the list, which like mirrors her not being on the like girl attractive list, right? Like the fucking
Maybe it
social
was.
network.
I don't know if it was implied or not. If she did go out with like the professor, like I'm not sure if that was implied, or like Jessica to think like, oh, did you also go out, but you didn't like admit it or whatever.
I feel like there was a kind of thing near the end where like she says to Eric that like, oh, she wasn't one of the people he assaulted, but they never said whether there was like anything between them. But obviously I don't think Jessica actually knows if anything happened between them. I think she might have just said that to comfort him. So it's very interesting. Although in my mind, I was picturing Heather as one of the Heathers from Heather the Musical. So I was kind of just like, oh, like I kind of was like, oh, maybe I have some apprehension surrounding you. But I agree. I don't think she she worked for it, but it felt convenient that literally this comment. She worked for it, but still the way she got everything just felt too convenient. But I think it's also speaking to like the privilege of her status and just being like, because she has all of this, of course she's going to get this recommendation because she's more likely than someone else who's worked twice as hard to get it because of her social standing. And I think it was done in a nuanced way, and like it just depends on whether you're invested in Heather as a character or not, or like see her as developed or not. For me, I think she.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. I think she could have done with a bit more development, personally. But I feel like
I said that too, up there.
I feel like what we got was like a sliver, but I feel like we just needed a bit more investment. Not investment, development into Heather as a character.
Man, I still can't get Jessica and Kara out of my head. I'm just like, they would have been perfect for each other. But of course, not the only, but literally the person of color got fucked up the most.
Yeah.
Well, she did make a clean break for it. She's like, fuck all of y'all white people. Bye.
Bye. I'm gonna leave. Queen. Honestly. Right. Is there any last questions from our wonderful audience before we wrap up the live show for the evening? Whilst you're all getting your questions through, I just want to quickly remind you that, again, we're doing a pre-recorded Q&A with Ashley Winstead. That'll be recorded, is it next week we're doing it? Next week. So make sure you get your questions in. Again, there's our latest Instagram post, you can put questions there. And also there'll be a story after the live show, which will have a question sticker, which you can use to ask stuff there as well. In December, we'll be reading You've Reached Sam by Destin Thau, which actually reached the New York Times bestseller list.
I know.
Which is iconic, amazing, stunning. We love to see it. And we also just have, I've had so many good recommendations for this book, and I'm really excited to read it and discuss it and just see how we feel about it. I think this is our second YA of the book club, because I think Rome was our first.
Yeah, this is. We literally have only read one other YA book.
If anyone's read this book in the comments, have you cried? Because I'm in the mood to cry.
That's true. I feel like people have said they've cried, but we'll see. Question. What do we think about the title of "In My Dreams I Hold a Knife"? I know this
I
is a
thought
question
it
I'm
was
going to ask
great.
Ash.
Very
It's definitely going to be a
metaphorical.
question about her, like the way that she came up with that title. It's definitely going to be one of my questions.
I know,
But-
honestly, yeah, this is like one of the more, I think, unique thrillers for me because there are so many instances where there was like this elevated writing about talking about dreams, especially, that I was
Mhm.
like, wow, I really liked it. I thought it was just different overall, but okay, I'm excited then. I can't remember the last time I cried in a book. Oh my god, did I cry during
I
Fire of the
remember.
Chills? When?
I think you almost did. I don't think you did,
Yeah, I don't think
but
I
I think
did.
you said you came close to, but you didn't.
I swear I thought I
what
just
book?
heard you say you cried at something. Or not just, but I remember you talking about crying over a book, and I cannot remember
Yeah,
what it is. Was it a book club pick?
it might have been a book.
What was July's book?
What was
Chosen the
July's book?
Beautiful. So I don't think I've cried for a book club pick. I don't think so.
Okay.
Mm.
But we'll see. We'll see.
I'm so glad we're all confused about the title of this book because I'm excited to ask.
It has
her
a better
all
ring
about
to it than "In My Dreams I Hold a Pair of My Betrayed Friends." But I think it's like because the actual made a weapons pair of scissors, but in the dreams like of murdering someone.
I think it's also like a knife is metaphorical for like different things that happen or like parallel to her life, just specifically, like trying to be being better than everyone, trying to be number one, the best, and holding that knife and like staying like on that thin line, the precipice.
True, very true indeed. Was there anything else? We'll be announcing the picks for next year in a week or two, once we finalize one of the book picks. But we do have some exciting picks planned already. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it for the ones that we have so far. I mean, to be fair, we do. I think both of the ones we've got so far are backlist titles.
Like way backlisted.
I mean, yeah, the first January's picks way backlisted.
It's like before we were even born.
True. I mean, yeah,
a
true.
century plus old.
Yes, exactly. And if you've seen my book shopping vlog that went live on my channel an hour before this live show, the author's plaque makes a feature. So there's a little bit of a scavenger hunt for you. But I think we can say that like the January, I forgot, I was about to say like Monday. For January.
Good old Monday.
January's book is a classic, but it's like a sci-fi classic. And then March, I think it's like a mesh between like a sci-fi and a fantasy.
Yeah.
Because it's like a really cool mesh.
We wanted to do fantasy again because we haven't done it in a long time. I think the last time we only did one was like Black Sun specifically.
Yeah. That was like our third month into the book club. Damn.
Oh my god, is it the same month?
Yes. A year ago.
Oh wow. But yeah, I mean, someone actually already cracked it. My girl Mary.
Yes.
But which Mary?
Oh, this is fun. The question below it. I would love a little intro as to why you guys picked a particular book.
Ooh.
I like that. We could do that like for each book club now, saying.
Yeah, like why
did we pick it? We picked it because it was random. There was no thought. It was random. Empty head, no thoughts, just good vibes. We're like, oh, this book is good.
But this is really also fun. December's live show is going to be on Noelle's channel. Am I getting the order right? I think so.
Yeah, Noelle's channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. Yes.
It's fine. January is not June.
No, we're not that. We're not that ambitious. No way.
I don't think we'd ever do like a 600-page book for a book club pick unless it was like we decided it was going to be over 2 months.
Yeah.
That's kind of insane.
But yeah, we wouldn't do that. Like I think most of the books, I think the longest book we've ever had is like 400 and
Shadow of the
something
Wind?
pages.
No, Shadow of the Wind was like almost 500. Was 500 pages, right?
Was it? Oh, me not remembering.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
think
remember either.
500 is basically like the top we'd go.
I think
from.
either Black Sun or Shadow of the Wind was like our longest book pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Dune or Tolkien, so
It's not Dune or Tolkien. Actually, I think
I am
the two
boycotting.
boycott. The
yeah, Secret
two
History is really
ones we have for January and March are both female authors, so have with that what you will. So yeah,
we'll try also to do the live show for You've Reached Sam by the end of December, so we can start like a new fresh year with the like new books. But in the event that it doesn't, hey, it happens all the time. Holidays are coming up, so
it's like
no.
Is
I'm
it
not going
this
through
one?
that trauma again. No. I feel like
I
that
haven't
book can
read it.
only be selective. Like, it is not recommended to be reading that book.
Yeah, I haven't read it, nor I'm still like wary of it, so probably not. Yeah, so no to a little life, but to these lives, and the ones that have ended. Thank you all for. Ellias is just holding the wrong book.
Who knows? Our lives could end up with after this one being hurt by
Oh, stop! You mean we're calling people after we've died?
Exactly. Exactly. This is what Heather could have been doing, but I guess she moved on. So
I mean, I would too. If I had been.
she's like, "Hey, bitches! I know what you did last summer."
Wait. Heather
Wait,
pushes
which one
Mint. Heather's ghost pushes Mint out the window.
Oh
Justice.
my god.
And they all
It just-
Wow.
It
You're all
comes back.
fucking
She's
shook.
like, "Hi, I'm here. Bye. Now I can move on."
I got
And she just
tortured.
dissipates.
Oh.
Anyways, thank you all for joining. This has been a fantastic live show.
This was fun.
And yeah, go check out my lovely co-host channels. And yeah, we'll see you next month for You for Each Sam. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. Stay safe during the holidays.